Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and I am excited to share with you in this video the amazing sage. Now, sage is something that I personally equate with like Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of the savory dishes that we have traditionally around that time of year. And I think that some people only experience the smell and the flavor of sage when those holidays are around and we're enjoying the food that is typically and traditionally in those dishes. But this is something to put on your radar and add into your health routine for so many reasons, because not only is it easy to grow in your garden, but it is packed full of nutrition and health benefits. Sage is native to Southern Europe and in the Mediterranean because it likes to be in full sun. And if you live in a place where you have harsh winters, like I do, you can still grow sage because it's a little shrub and it grows a ton, and it's an amazing pollinator. So the butterflies love it, the bees love it, and this adds some beautiful pop of these fuzzy leaves to your garden. And they're super fun to pick a few leaves and brew into a tea. You can even dry them and put them in a little spice jar and then use them for your cooking all throughout the year. And it's been used and studied and researched for centuries. So this is not something new. This is something that human beings have been using in all kinds of cultures. The indigenous people, it grows here in Utah in the wild in certain places. Ancient and medieval times, they used sage. And even think about it, I have a little sage smudger, and there's nothing like lighting your sage and smudging out negative energy. This has been used for so many centuries and loved by humans for a long, long time. First, let's cover my favorite health benefits. So not only does it taste delicious, it promotes health in this beautiful physical body that we have. It's packed full of antioxidants, which for me, antioxidants equals anti-cancer. You have something that scavenges free radicals and provides all kinds of benefits just because of its antioxidant power. In fact, many of you know that most of your greens, whatever is any shades of green, typically has a ton of antioxidants. It's an antioxidant powerhouse. It is awesome for your brain health. It gives you a cognitive boost. And this has been something that even the ancient Greeks used it as a cognitive boost. That, along with rosemary, those are my two favorite essential oils to put into a carrier oil, or even just diffuse them directly, let them diffuse into the air. And even smelling essential oils of sage, and to me, along with rosemary, those go so well together, it gives you a cognitive boost. And this is very, very well studied. It's got powerful anti-inflammatory properties. It's got antimicrobial benefits. So it's antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, beautiful, beautiful antimicrobial benefits. And this is, some people use this and this will be their main go-to for some of these issues, is sage, especially if you're thinking, well, how am I going to get sage in daily? If you have a sage plant in your yard, as a cup of sage tea, there's nothing like it. It tastes absolutely delicious. What I like to do with sage, because it does have a little touch of bitter for me, is I like to add some stevia. And if I have stevia, which I do right now growing in my yard, I'll pick some sage leaves and maybe a sprig of rosemary along with it. And then I'll pick a few leaves of stevia and I'll steep them all together. And it's one of the most delicious things that you can commune with while you're nourishing yourself. It's also got amazing digestive properties. So it's really, really good for your digestion from the top where your mouth is and all the way through your stomach, your digestive tract, your intestines, and through your colon. Your whole digestive tract benefits from sage. Menopause relief. Okay, so this is something that I have a couple of friends and one sister who used this every single day, and it lessened her hot flashes and night sweats. So this is one of those things that is super easy, and it's a remembering of, oh, I have this, or I have access to this, or oh, maybe I have a spot in my garden that I need to plant some sage, because it's a beautiful addition to your garden too. It's also great for skin health and hair growth. So infuse your rosemary or your sage into an oil, and maybe get the essential oils, put it into a carrier oil, and massage it into your scalp. And it's super, super good for stimulating hair growth. And the reason I think I keep bringing up rosemary is because sage and rosemary, they contain an acid called rosmaric acid. And they both contain the same powerful thing, because rosemary is good for your brain, sage is good for your brain. So I think because sometimes we get so obsessed with rosemary like I do, we forget that sage is just right there as a humble, beautiful little plant that can provide not only amazing flavor, but it can provide a ton of health benefits. So you can make a poultice out of sage leaves, kind of crush them up, I like to add them to a little bit of coconut oil and put it on a skin wound. Great for eczema. All kinds of things that you can use sage for. So if you're going to be planting sage in your garden, there are some companion plants that I found that really love to be next to sage, because it is a great pollinator and it kind of likes the same soil constituency, the same type of soil. It doesn't like to be drenched in water. So some of the plants that I've found go really, really well with sage are parsley, rosemary, carrots, broccoli, cabbage. Some of these plants that don't like to be soaked in water make a really good companion plant. And if you think about putting a sage plant next to some of your garden plants and your vegetables, it's going to attract the pollinators, which is going to make your vegetables even grow more and just be completely abundant. Now, some of the vegetables that don't like to be planted near sage are these: onions, leeks, garlic, and chives. And I think that's partly too because if you think about, those are a lot of root vegetables, like, the garlic, the onions, they like to have a little bit wetter soil. One difference I have found is that tomatoes, while they do like a lot of water, they benefit greatly from having a sage plant pretty close to them because of the pollination. So I would love to know what you think about sage. To me, this is an easy one to talk about. It's got so many health benefits, and it's lovely to grow, and it's lovely to use in your cooking and just to have it as a tea. I've been really pushing and encouraging people to drink a lot of tea lately, and having sage in your garden to just simply go pluck the leaves from is really, really awesome. And a nice thing is you can cut off a little bunch of sage, and if you get it at just the right place, you can take that plant and you can put it in another place of your garden. It'll take a root and it will grow into another sage bush. So experiment in different places. Make sure that you have plenty of sunshine. I have planted sage before where it's been a little shady because I just thought it would look really good, like ornamentally. And it hasn't thrived as much as places that require full sunshine. Now, there are places that have sunshine that just beats on them. And so if you have a place that gets mostly sun, but then a little bit of shade, like at the later time of the day, that could be a really good place to plant your sage as well. So what I would encourage you to do, along with some of these other very well-known, amazing herbs that fit so well in your herb garden and are so good for your health, start experimenting with them. Start putting them in your gardens. I think that we are in a time, and we are right now in almost August of 2025, where I believe that one of the most important things for us to be doing as human beings is to be growing our own, not just food, but medicinal herbals. And you can look at something like sage as both. This is going to flavor my food. It's going to make a warm cup of tea that's going to nourish me, especially during the winter, because you can dry the leaves and then store them in a spice jar or a glass jar, and so you can use them all winter. But this is something that nourishes you and it feeds you at the same time. So I'd love to know what you think about sage. Do you love it? I don't know too many people who don't like it. I don't think there's anything in there like with cilantro that kind of gives you that soapy taste, which we know is a little bit of a gene issue. But with sage, I think for me, there's just deep, rich, familiar history to it because of the holidays. And that's probably one of my favorite things, is to be smelling sage coming from the kitchen. So let me know what you think about this, and we will see you next time.